Screw is a cylinder having a spiral thread and a corresponding spiral groove winding around it in a uniform manner. Screw is also a reversed mechanism in which the interior of a cylinder is provided with a corresponding spiral thread and groove into which a screw, as first defined, may fit. This basic definition may be expanded somewhat as follows. 1. Drachmann sees the screw as the application of a mathematical concept to practical use. 2. Wilkins, in 1648, saw the screw as an instrument. 3. Tubner says the screw is nothing but a twisted wedge which is not hit by blows. 4. Cochrane insists that the screw is a combination of the screw principle with the lever principle. In my opinion, the screw is basically a nail, or shaft with grooves. There is some justification for this point of view, since historically the nail seems to have preceded the screw. In fact, one might even refer to the nail as a smoothly shafted screw, and conversely, to a screw as a groovy shafted nail. However, before proceeding into a more technical discussion of these points, I should mention that while the screw seems to have been known for a very long time, its etymological origin, at least, is unclear. Weist and Kluge refer both French and Teutonic forms to the Latin scrofa, meaning to sew. This seems reasonable, since scrofa closely relates to forms which appear in other languages and which do in fact mean screw, in some sense. For instance, compare scrofa with Old French screw or scro, with modern French screw, with modern Low German scruva, with Swedish skruva, with modern Icelandic skrufa, or with Danish screw.
But if we were to androgenate,
or dive in the dark,
or culbatize,
or hoist in,
or rush up the straight,
or slide up the board,
or perform a wipe at the place, could you
take the push?
Aha!
That's the trick.
Exercise in
Combinationally, the male-female screw form one of the
spood on in
6 mechanical powers, being a modification of the
rasp in
inclined plane. The powers are
pile drive in
tooth wheel power,
quim in
winch power,
stick in
Stunning layover.
lever power,
belly in
pulley power,
bump
Meaning what?
in
Bottom
to
worker.
what? Meaning who to
wedge
who?
power,
Meaning
and
how to how.
Meaning when to when?
screw power.
Meaning
Morality. To what end?
where to where?
Shaking
Energy
Meaning
is
A to
transmitted
Meaning
by
Z
means
to
of a
Z.
hollow cylinder. The female
fancy
screw,
piece strong.
What?
of
Meaning
approximately equal diameter with the solid
Sporting
one,
open arse.
the male screw.
Taxation.
Landlords.
Hence, the one will work within
Wriggling
the
tickle
other.
tail.
Simply the maximum
Meaning-
that can be screwed out of.
By
Bitching
turning the
Traviata.
hollow cylinder while
Rack.
the other
What end?
remains fixed,
Enough.
the latter
Drinking
will
lady
pass
bird.
through
Meaning what?
Meaning
the former and will advance
meaning didn't.
Receiver
every
Meaning
revolution
put.
through a
Meaning
space
on.
equal
Meaning-
to the distance between
Meaning screws.
Cockchafing.
two contiguous
meaning
turns
half,
of the
meaning
thread.
hard.
Screwing into the hearts of men by degrees.
Meaning
As the screw is a modified inclined plane,
enough.
there is no difficulty estimating the mechanical advantages obtained by it.
Blow incog.
No.
If we suppose the power to be applied to the circumference of the screw and to act in a direction at right angles to the radius of the cylinder and parallel to the base of the inclined plane by which the screw is supposed to be formed, then the power will be to the resistance as the distance between two contiguous threads is to the circumference of the cylinder. In practice, however, the screw is combined with the lever
Hedge creeper.
and the power applied to the extremity of the lever.
Treble
Therefore,
cleft.
the law becomes the power is to the resistance as
Give
the
me more
distance between two contiguous threads is 2, the circumference
Commodity.
described by the power. In this case, the effect of the screw is increased by A, lessening the distance between the threads,
Troll.
B, making the threads finer, and C,
Lace button tit.
lengthening
Lift
the
skirt
lever
truck.
to which
Want to
power
pick up
is
Aspasia.
applied. The law,
Troublemaker lady. Hot
however,
product broker.
becomes
Gay girl
greatly
rampant.
modified by the
Bobtail Turner.
tremendous
Fly by
friction
night.
prevailing.
Partridge.
The uses of the screw are various. In the most general sense, it is an invaluable device for holding things down. That is, in the application of great pressure. Interestingly enough, the entire question of the screw as pressure device did not clarify itself immediately. For example, at an early stage in the development of the printing press, Stradanus in 1490 writes, "It is difficult inserting the slide at random to get the page centrally located under the screw of the press, failing which the platen tilts and applies pressure unevenly. Rails are therefore introduced to guide the sliding bed, but as the screw is head vertical only by passing through a top cross bar, usually called the head, and by the guidance of side members, or cheeks, some wobble may still occur at point of impression. The screw is therefore made to pass through a lower member."
Go! Meaning, meaning,
To what end?
To anima fumosa.
go! Meaning, meaning,
Meaning what?
Fixing.
To what end?
go! Meaning,
To putting the prepared pipe into the fundament.
meaning,
With the first short pipe screwed into it.
meaning,
Apparatus.
To what end?
meaning,
To screwing.
meaning,
Patterns.
meaning,
From the mold.
go! Meaning, meaning,
What?
go! Meaning, meaning, go! Meaning, meaning,
Bodius, somewhat later in 1520, constructed a somewhat heavier press. It had cheeks 6 inches thick, and the barrel of the screw is 8 or 9 inches in diameter. His press had a square hose instead of a hexagonal one, quite in contrast to just a man's, in which no hose is visible at all, or in Blow's press, where the hose mechanism is replaced by spindles which pass in direct motion through circular holes in the till. This device was easier to adjust than a well-fitted box hose and helped to regulate screw pressure. On the other hand, much earlier, Heron is quite aware of the screw as pressure device. True, his machines were less complex, and they were used for simpler work. Nevertheless, it might be of value to quote from a portion of his mechanics as found in the Leiden manuscript. In this case, Heron is describing a twin screw press. Note the attention to and concern for screw pressure. Now we shall tell about the work with the presses, with which you can press with force and power. They are among the most powerful there are, and the most perfect. We say that a beam that is called a mountain is only a lever which weight presses down, and the weight that presses down is on its end lifted above the ground, and as long as it presses, the juices will not stop flowing until the weight sits on the ground. Although they are very powerful, the pressure is not also strong by continuation. Therefore, it is necessary to repeat from time to time the turning and the pressure. These pressing instruments are easy to work. They can be moved and put up any place we want, and there is in them no need for a long straight beam of a hard nature, and there's been no hindrance from stiffness. They are free and press with a strong pressure, and the juices come out all together. And we have to repeat the pressing again and again until no more juices are left in the pressed substance.
again! Meaning, hurt!
Meaning what? Key. To what end? To screw a place.
Meaning, when!
Meaning what? False. To what end? To lock the door.
Meaning, will!
Meaning what? Skeleton. To what end?
Meaning, you!
To stand on the screw. Meaning what? Instrument.
Meaning, stop!
To what end? To not bolt. Meaning what? Prison.
Meaning,
To what end?
To rack or good.
Meaning what?
Turn.
meaning,
Key. To what end?
To turn the screw.
meaning,
Meaning what?
On.
To what end?
meaning,
To stretch your limbs with screws.
meaning,
And pulleys.
Meaning what?
Extortion.
To what end?
go!
To torture.
Meaning what?
To crush the thumbs of Jew with vice and screw.
Meaning what?
Penal.
To what end?
To get him to tell you where he buried his treasure.
Furthermore,
Meaning what?
Fuzz.
To what end?
To get a head screw.
kiss, starch plowed, fluff, lush damaged, snuff, soaked out spiff, incog, nappy bugged, pot, roar, hardy, grape shot taverned, and go! Tangle, swizzle-odd, snap, helpless lumpy, wet, snug prune, elevate, tight cut, chuck, thirsty jug, bitten whiny, fat swill, prime, gay hockey tip, yap, little high buffy teeth, fall, hard up swiggler, go! Over, more! Bladder, blind, bloat, haze, head, mash, mix, mop, shoot, so, rattle, wheel, rock.
However, in another sense, it seems clear from the minus codes edited by Nix that Heron really doesn't know how to compute the effects of these screws. Though he's credited with the development in the basic screw line. Parenthetically, there is disagreement here, for Papos insists that the screw line, often referred to as the snail on the cylinder, called cochlea by the Romans, was first constructed by Apollonius of Perga in 170 BC. In any case, Heron takes into account only the difference of radius of the handle and the screw itself. Actually, screws for holding down, as we know them, were not really clarified until goldsmiths devised them for locking, that is, for bracelets and the like, although, if I remember correctly,
But if we were to
Schramm
go
has
beard
provided one of
splitting,
Biden's
Or
catapults
bush
for holding
ranging.
down screws.
or rump split twat tromboning,
Or quim wedging.
Incidentally,
or
Drachman cannot use
buttonhole
Biden
working,
as evidence
Could
for
you
anything.
take it long?
aha!
He also thinks that Schramm is wrong in
That's
this
the trick.
case because
What
holding down screws should more properly translate a drum
would
around which a rope is wound.
you
Push.
do
Pallias.
after
Pack.
that?
Put.
The drum
Go for a bit
was
of
made from a metal thread wound
Cockfighting.
around a cylinder.
chiplet
Cock.
pie,
And
Would you want
and
inside the hole.
haircut,
For
or
our
to go for
purposes
trout
then,
in a
holding down screws did not
peculiar river.
continues
Who
until it was
knows?
possible
But-
to make male and female screws of a
Could you?
die
it
and
along.
screw tap.
Ah-ha.
That's the trick.
Never mind.
Screws for moving and adjusting are quite another matter. One of the most significant early instruments is credited to Archimedes and is known as the endless screw. He is personally supposed to have used his instrument with the wind last to pull a fully loaded three-masted ship on dry land, and by combining the endless screw with a windmill, a combination first mentioned in 1404, it became possible to drain land, and Oribasios, the endless screw, for medical reasons, was used in the chest of Nymphodorus, and according to Diodorus, the Nile Delta was irrigated by the endless screw, and, again at a certain point, Oribasios is concerned with how the endless screw can move a
Gilded,
tortoise.
glorious,
A
groggy,
tortoise is a sled for dragging loads. I quote,
fogged, jagged,
"The screw passes through a hole, but inside the hole, a
Flawed.
bronze or iron plate has been driven
Jolly.
into the tortoise. The plate is called a tooth.
fox,
Now the tooth of the tortoise is
Jack.
engaged with the screw thread of the screw.
Get off
Accordingly, the result
your
is that,
muzz.
caught up by the turning of the screw
Funnel.
one way or another,
paralyzed,
the plate called the little tooth,
Meaning what?
squiff,
Opening your mouth.
reaching around the
Screw.
screw and the hollow screw thread itself,
cup, nod,
will move the
clinch,
tortoise.
Meaning what?
Pressing.
shake, flush,
For what end?
overshoot,
For speculum.
Meaning what?
wet, chirping merry pot shot, and
Straining.
For what end?
For conveying nourishment.
Meaning what?
move succubus,
Contracting.
For what end?
suctorially,
For spiriting the female.
eat,
Meaning what?
Oralizing.
For what end?
nurse,
For wonder about the curiosity of people.
inhale, inlet,
Meaning what?
Hoping.
suck come.
For what end?
From these simple, practical beginnings, the screw for moving and adjusting has found many applications.
Mouth.
Some noteworthy ones are:
Eat.
1. Micrometer screws, such as were used for telescopes and other watching devices. 2. Precision instrument screws, such as were used in gunner's level around 1614. 3. Threaded screws, as fixing devices, such as were used crudely in the 16th century armor fittings. 4. Screws as a slow motion device, such as in the probably Hellenistic worm gear. 5. Screws for the reduction of velocity, such as those used for lifting loads, according to the Chronicle of Gervais the Monk, circa 1200. 6. Surgical instrument screws, such as are illustrated in the Speculamatris. Incidentally, several specimens are still extant. 7. Stopper screws, such as are described by Cipriano Piccolo Passo for his pottery bottles, and furthermore inherent template for screw making, and in self-starting screw lamps.
To what end?
In screwing your mustache with deep deliberation.
Meaning what?
To be on the screw.
To what end?
And in the double screw.
Meaning what?
To be propelling.
To what end?
Into a scene hole the cell serpent will screw his whole body.
Meaning what?
And in the direct twin screw.
To what end?
Into being screwed up until you can hardly breathe.
Meaning what?
To be ridiculous.
To what end?
And in the cogwheel engaging screw.
Meaning what?
To be a mistress of a school, not a seminary.
To what end?
Into tight lacing.
Meaning what?
And in the screw jack.
Where enormous pay might be screwed out of health and into vanity.
To what end?
Into a pick-me-up.
And in the screw nail.
Meaning what?
To be taking a screw every morning.
To what end?
Into a little dose of bitters.
Meaning what?
And in the differential, or hunter screw, which, by the way, is formed of 2
End.
Into swearing you can see all right.
screws, a larger and a smaller, the former being screwed internally to allow,
To what end?
To screwing your body.
Meaning what?
the latter to screw into it. The pitch of the 2 screws differs slightly, and,
Into giving aim.
for each turn of the cheek, or larger screw, the progress of the point of the compound screw is the difference of pitch which results in very great power. And furthermore, one must mention game devices, which are in Heron's automatic or puppet theater, where the screw furrow is primary. There are 1 or 2 constructions. One is a small stage, which automatically comes into view, presents a puppet show, and retires again. The other is a stage standing still, but presenting automatically in play in many acts. In both cases, the moving force is a heavy weight, fitting into a container full of millet or mustard seeds.
In the end,
The seeds run out through a narrow hole. The weight comes down at a determined rate, and it is turned from an axle which is suspended by a thread. All the movements are taken from this axle by means of threads. A puppet or any other thing is turned by a thread going over a drum. If it has to turn back, the thread is passed over a peg in the drum and wound around the other way. If the object has to move and stop and move again, there is a length of slack thread between 2 windings. This slack thread is stuck on the drum with wax, so that it will not hang down and get caught in the other machinery. If an action has to happen only once, such as a black cloth being dropped, it may be worked by a separate weight, which is relaced by a thread pulling out a pin. The moving stage runs in and out on 3 wheels. It may be moved in and out by another set of wheels that are lowered or lifted by a screw furrow engaged by a peg. The movement of the arm of a puppet, as in hammering, is produced by pins on the wheel acting on the short end of a lever. The wedge has been used from very old times for splitting things. A very special use is seen in the perfume press pictured at Pompeii.
In sweetness, you come in perfume over the pressure of feet. You come in expression with lemon, lime, and bergamot.
In the end,
The wedge
you come.
is the direct descendant of the axe.
You come in perfume
Maceration.
over the pressure
Possibly.
of feet. You come in
It
expression.
is the other way
Lemon.
around.
Lime
Jasmine.
and bergamot.
You come in the name.
In the end,
You come
The lever is found everywhere in nature.
in maceration.
over the pressure.
The roller and wheel are very old indeed.
Come
Lime,
come with jasmine.
The auger
Come
translates a circular motion into a linear one along its axis of rotation. It is related to the screw, possibly. It was invented by Archytas about 400 BC.
with pious.
Actually, the principle of the rotating shaft, first applied in the early Bronze Age, was extended by the Alexandrian Greeks into the screw.
Dilution.
In medieval times, metal screws were rare.
Arousing.
Even in the 19th century, they were not made with points. A hole had first to be prepared for the full length of the screw. Matters were complicated by the fact that glue was prohibited by guild regulations. Thus, a firm fit was sometimes a problem.
Tuberose.
Arousing my scent pouch to a
The fixing of locks and bolts and other attachments up to the late 17th century was done by nails, not screws. Eventually, screws took the place of wedges in the crafts of the locksmiths and the watchmaker.
All over me. You bitching.
Today, screws are machined and machines are screwed. This was not always so. Originally, machine screws were made by hand. Under this primitive system, no two screws were alike. When a screw had to be replaced, it was difficult to make another that would fit.
Stingtail, summer cabbage, swallow cock, fat cattle, canary bird, fancy faggot, cast off,
Henry Maudslay, about the opening of the 19th century,
cleaver,
a period
file,
referred to as the Paleotechnic phase,
cocktail,
gave great study to the production of uniform and
concubital,
accurate
fire
screws,
ships,
laying the foundation for the modern interchangeable type.
cruiser,
Maudslay's passion resulted in his screw-cutting lathe, obviously a decisive piece of standardization.
cracked pitcher, flapper, cuddle,
Leonardo's work with the screws seems to have been far in advance of his time,
flashtail,
so much so that we assume it to be original. His notebooks contain many sketches of long lead screws used to control mechanical devices for reproducing the screw itself.
nug,
Though you come in needy, you come artificially inseminating.
And as such,
Social variables.
fathered the modern concept of
Service. You come
the use of the screw in tool making.
why?
You come in
You come
social
in my
variables
addendum
and
with
selective
instruments of wax,
In the end,
of
you
leather
come in
and
meeting.
gutta
You come
percha,
artificially inseminating.
Notwithstanding the fact that before the end of the 19th century, factories began producing tools at a lower price than the blacksmiths, still making their own tools. Preference for homemade tools lingered on. Many traveling blacksmiths roamed the villages.
fly by night,
One remarkable figure was Pincer Jack.
Presumptively.
foreskin hunter,
Maudslay was followed by Sir Joseph Whitworth.
Come over me. You
He established the primary system of uniform threats,
go between,
which
bro,
You come emotionally. You
subsequently was accepted by leading machine builders all around
presumptively.
the world.
Come superiorly. You come all over me. You bitching.
Improvisation played a large part in the village workshop. It influenced the design of future equipment. Examples are the famous stone-rated beam drill that operated without a screwing down mechanism, and the homemade slip wrench, which was an adjustable spanner made without a screw, but much esteemed by tradesmen for its power to grip a worn nut.
giggler,
Later, following Whitworth's lead, the Sellers Standard was adopted.
You come
You come in small portions,
salary
wrapped
and
and
wages.
twisted
in
paper.
goodness.
You come
four-legged frolic,
Come
tobacco.
in butter.
go through,
You come
You
come in houses
in puffing
green
and spreading.
pastures.
The chief difficulty with Whitworth's method was in the attainment of accurate, uniform pitch of the screw threads. Any error was multiplied.
And bottles.
For instance, an error of 1/10,000th of an inch in pitch between screw threads would probably go unnoticed if there were only half a dozen turns, but, say with 24 threads to the inch, given a screw a foot long, the error would be multiplied by 288, such that the screw would bind and jam before going forward to its counterpart. Ingenious means have corrected such errors, and screws are nowadays turned out very cheaply and with great accuracy. There are two basic methods for cutting a screw thread by hand. In method A, one should mount a metal rod of desired diameter beneath the centers of the lathe. Then fix a cutting tool on the slide rest of the lathe, forcing against the rotating rod. Then repeat the process until the thread is sufficiently deep. Then match it with a master screw to test accuracy. In method B, one should use a screw die and die stock. Then fix a metal rod to the die stock and the die straddling the rod. Then rotate the stock to the thread is being cut but the die is being pressed together, gradually the screw in the stock. A female thread may be slimly formed with a screw tapper to the hole of the wrench. In modern screw making, however, only the above principles are followed. For screws are nowadays made on automatic lathes designed to cut a large number accurately in one operation. Machines are now so thoroughly automatic that an attendant can watch several of them, such that vast numbers of screws can be turned out at surprisingly low cost with almost perfect accuracy. By employing change wheels on the lathe, the number of screw threads can be altered from one standard size to another.
In the end,
I am not certain that,
you'll come.
in any case, I should have screwed myself up to accept
Gaming.
it, as I am generally among strangers.
Do you suppose Christina was prophetic?
Doctor,
Complete screw.
replied Sir Austin,
Despite
if you had a pure blood Arab bar, would you cross him
you'll come
with the
over
screw?
me.
From the right. The singular bargaining with all of the collective governing organs.
Did you know that before the use of wind
You'll come.
power, there were a few horse-driven Archimedean screws?
Out! Blurred, corned, crooked, fuzzled, floored, fettled, graveled, guttered, keyhole, knocked up, and muggy, muddled, mocked, mazed, nogged, dagged, downed, dulled. Only two. I electrify, exalt, lap, under, let, fore, fly, lump, high, lush, hardy, leer, hands. Again,
When you compare this remarkable precision and productivity to statements by Cellini, who thought that a male screw should be made 3 fingers thick, or by Stevinus, who thought that the screw should usually be at an angle of 30 degrees, we have, indeed, beyond doubt, come
Columbine,
a long
layup,
way.
wave watercolors.
On the other hand, it might be of interest to compare these modern techniques with another passage from Heron's Mechanics. I quote, "As for the female screw, it is made in this way. We take a piece of hard wood, whose length is more than twice the length of the female screw, and its thickness like that of the female screw, and we make on one part, on half the length of the piece of wood, a screw, in the way we have already described, and the depth of the screw turns on it should be like the depth of the screw turns which we want to turn in this female screw. And we turn from the other part as much as the thickness of the screw turns, so that it becomes like a peg of equal thickness. And we draw 2 diameters on the base of the piece of wood, and we divide each of them into 3 equal parts. and we draw from one of the 2 points a line at right angles to the diameter. Then we draw from the 2 ends of this line at right angles to this diameter on the whole length of the peg, 2 lines at right angles. This is easy for us to do if we place this peg along a straight board and scratch it until we reach the screw furrow. Then we use a fine saw with great care until we have sawed down to the screw furrow. Then we cut off this third that was marked on the peg, and we cut out in the remaining 2/3 in their middle a groove-like canal on the whole length, and its size should be half the thickness of the remaining part. Then we take an iron rod and sharpen it according to the screw turns. Then we fit it into the peg with the canal in it. Then we make its ends come out and the screw turns, after we have fastened the 2 pieces together so that the 2 are fixed to one another and cannot come apart at all. Then we take a small wedge and insert it into the canal-like groove and knock it until the iron rod comes out and lies between the 2 parts. When we have done this, we fit the screw into a piece of wood into which there has been bored a hole that corresponds exactly to the thickness of the screw. Then we bore in the sides of this wide hole, small holes side by side, and we fit into them small, oblique, round pegs and drive them in until they engage the screw furrow. Then we take a plank we want to make the female screw, and we bore it into a hole the size of the screw peg. We make a joint between this plank and the plank we have fitted the screw by strong cross pieces which we have fastened together very solidly. Then we insert the peg that carries the wedge into the holes in the plank. What's a cut female screw? And we bore the upper ends of the screw, holes which we place handles, and we turn it until it comes into the plank, and we keep on turning it up and down. Serve the wedge and blows again and again until we have cut the female screw with the screw furrow we want it.
Suppose.
And so we have made the female screw.
Polite to jab in the groin.
Only if it's legal.
Lionel was mounted on an obvious screw, but in good going condition.
Do you suppose its origin is really obscure?
I'm a miser. Aunt is just as great a screw as ever.
You come
It obviously follows
all over me.
from the foregoing that the familiar types of screw are named from the thing to which they are attached, the sense to which they are attached, the function to which they are attached, the form to which they are attached, and the quality to which they are attached. For example, thing, as in bench screw, form, as in countersunk screw, function, as in thumb screw, sense, as in flat screw, quality, as in interrupted screw. There are also many special combinations, such as screw alley, screw box, screw coupling, screw dog, screw dollar, screw drill, screw eye doesn't have any eyes screwed up, screw gear, screw grip, screw gun, screw joint, screw machine, screw mouth doesn't have an ill-shaped mouth, screw plot, screw plate, screw propeller, which by the way subscribes to the formula that is the real slip formula as opposed to the negative slip formula v plus s minus s over v, which v is the speed of the screw, s is the speed of the vessel, f the velocity of the factor f being to this to the frictional distance of the vessel, screw pump, screw rod, screw regulator, screw spanner, screw press, an example of which is described elsewhere, screw tool, screw turn, screw turner, screw driver, screw cap, screw worm, screw wrench, in the sense of belonging to a screw, such as screw arbor, screw curve, screw head, screw hole, screw motion, screw post, screw shafting, or an appliance's operated by a screw, such as screw bore, screw valve, screw pad, and additional object in tidal cases, as in screw chasing, screw cutter, screw maker, screw slotting, screw driven, as in driven takes another form since cycle 1886 Encyclopedia Britannica, volume 21 contains the following: screwable, screwage, which is a rare form today, screw, screwer, screwiness, screwing, screwish, and including objects manufactured screwless, as in the screw pine. For species of potatoes, in tropical countries, Medatus utilis is highly valued of its edible fruits and fibers of its roots and leaves. The flavus of Pandatus odoratismus also yield a valuable fiber. The name of the screw pine is suggested by the perfect spiral arrangement of the leaves, easily observed in mature specimens, and also from their resemblance to the pineapple. by an accord signed in Washington, D.C. on November 18, 1948, the Screw Thread Standardization Committees of Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States accepted a common standardization of screw threads for their respective countries and called it the Unified Thread Standard, or UTS. The UTS standards are published in the ASA publication Volume 1, 1949, and are given below. Eventually, it is hoped that these standard screw classifications will become universal.
It already is.
There are 6 standard theory
You mean
screws.
all over?
I mean
And 3
overall.
special series. The latter should not be
Can you
employed
collect any of it?
Of course.
until the use of the standard series proves
Can you put your
impossible.
finger on it?
Of course.
The standard series, based on
You're
diameter
simply
with
forcing
pitch
them to use
measurements,
words.
and
Not soon enough.
their
Side
suggested
by
uses
side.
are
Most spermatozoa die soon enough.
How
1.
soon is
Coarse thread
soon?
series
Meaning
screws,
what?
UNC and
screw is a
NC for
screw.
general
Meaning
use,
what?
especially where
During-
rapid assembly is required.
Over. Just over.
2.
Ridiculous.
Fine thread
To
series
what
screws,
end?
UNF
Destroke
and
it.
NF
Meaning
for
what?
applications requiring
Laughable.
greater strength,
To be,
or where length
instead
of
of twisting
engagement is limited.
backwards.
3.
Absurd.
Extra fine theory screws,
To what
UNEF
end?
and NEF for highly stressed
Irrelevant.
parts.
To being
4.
Insensitive.
8 thread series screws, 8N, a
Meaning
substitute
what?
for UNC and NC for diameters
Stupid.
larger than 1 inch.
billiards.
5.
Nonsense.
12 thread
To
series
what end?
screws,
To be
12 UN
striking
and
the cue
12N.
ball.
A continuation of
Below
UNF
the
and
center.
NF
Meaning what? To be
for diameters larger than 1 1/2 inches. 6.
Fiddle-dee-dee.
16
Side
thread
stroke
series screws,
twisting.
16
To
UN and
be
16 N, and continuation of UNF and NF for
Didn't
diameter
you ever
larger
hear of
than 2
Hieroglyph
inches.
interpretation
screwing.
construction screwing up
To
misuse
be
into
The
felonies?
flow
three
and
special
screwing.
series screws
To
are
be-
8 UN,
Contrary.
UNS, and NS.
Wasn't Wilkins prophetic when he said the chief inconvenience of this instrument is that in a short space it will be screwed up into its full
UTS
length?
recognizes 8 thread classes distinguished from each other by amount of
short
screw
is
allowance
short?
or screw
Short.
tolerance. These classes, which
We're
are
not
based
getting
on length
anywhere.
of engagement,
Screw
are
bean.
1. Screw classes 1A, 1B provide liberal allowance for assembly ease,
Screw
even
moth.
when threads are dirty or slightly damaged.
Screw palm.
2. Screw classes 2A, 2B are for the production of bolts,
Screw
screws, nuts,
stem.
and other commercial fasteners. 3.
Swiss
Screw
cannon
classes
rammer.
2 for close tolerance work where no allowance is required.
Florio screw ride!
Precisely.
4.
what end?
Screw classes 2 and 3
Meaning
apply
what?
to both external
Is it-
and internal
Immaterial.
threads.
I don't know.
However,
except whenever we stop
in
in
addition
the
to UTS
woods, we
class,
could
there's
hear
also
the
the
clear,
ATS American
creaking
class, the
rasp of the
WTS
big
rubber
boring
class,
grub, which
and the
they call the
BATS
screw worm.
British class,
Meaning what?
the
To be
MTS
singing.
French
To
class,
what end?
and the IS,
SREW.
the international class,
Why
all
don't
of
we
which
be it
makes screw
together?
interchangeability
fun.
slightly
Okay.
more complex since the screw system is slightly different in each case.
Breathe in! Expire! Breathe in! Expire! Breathe in! Expire! And expire! And expire!
You are
Other
getting
screw
better.
details are as
Expire
follows.
indeed.
Is this supposed to be an exam or something?
A.
should
Power
be fun.
transmission
They
through
used to
threads
call us
include
taking
the
a screw.
acme thread,
I think it
the
is
general
fun. Don't
purpose
you?
thread, and the
Come on, keep the
29-degree
mechanism
stub thread.
going.
B.
That's it.
ATS
Breathe.
threads
Expire.
are used with pressure vessels and other surfaces. They can be applied to hot or cold surfaces.
Breathe.
American
Expire.
taper pipe thread. B. American standard straight
Swipe.
pipe thread. The Dr.
Candy.
SA consists of 5 joint types. 1. Pressure
Rock.
tight joints with sealer.
Two.
2. Pressure tight joints without sealer. 3.
The
Free
goose.
fitting mechanical
Swipe.
joints. 4. Loose fitting mechanical joints with
Candy.
rock nuts.
Rock.
5. Loose fitting mechanical joints for hose couplings.
Shoe the goose. Swipe, candy, rock, shoe the goose. Swipe, candy, rock, shoe the goose. Swipe, candy, rock, shoe the goose.
Machine screws
Breathe.
are defined
Expire.
by the head type as follows.
Being
Flathead.
miraculous, moral, muccubus,
Roundhead.
boozed,
Philister head.
buddy,
Expire!
Oval head.
bemused,
Hexagon head.
blind,
Socket head.
bung-eye queered,
Eye bolts are classified as rivet, nut, or screw and can be had
brood,
on a swivel. Driving recesses for screws used in modern practice are hex socket,
bit,
Phillips,
basked,
drilled spanner,
beard,
fluted socket,
overseen, oversparred, overtaken.
Frierson.
Harlot. Baggage.
Slutted.
Haymarket. Bod.
Slotted spanner.
Where? Hack.
Clutch.
Body. Beef.
Posy drive.
Hen. Bird.
One way.
Breed expired.
Set screws are used for fastening things to shafts to prevent relative rotation. They are available in a variety of head and point styles, such as hollow oval point,
bottom work,
hollow flat point,
bunt,
hollow half dog point,
bus,
square head cone point,
butter,
square head cup point,
bun.
But
Breed expired.
if we were to go making ends meet,
set screw holding power is proportional
Or
putting the devil in hell,
to seating torque.
bite. Or
grinding our tools,
Shaft hardness should be at least 10 Rockwell C points, less than the set
taking
screw
on
point.
a
Bona. Knock 'em down. Handle.
split arsed mechanic, or
Belly
sucking
bump. Light frigate. Have.
the sugar stick, or losing the match.
Blocking fasteners are used to prevent the loosening of a threaded fastener in service.
The stakes.
wide variety available differ vastly in design, performance, and
Stargazing.
function.
Rope 'em at 'em.
Some examples are 1.
Could
Seating
you
lock.
say what you were doing?
Bob. Joy. Carry on. Hustle.
Aha!
That's the trick.
Bull.
2.
Quail.
Spring stop nut.
Jerker. Hole.
3. Prevailing torque.
Ah.
Linda Bride.
4. Wedge.
Queen. Horse.
5. Blind. 6. Quick release.
Bung. Lone duck.
Perhaps
Kiddock. Huddle. Brush. Jiggle. Cyprian. Huff.
Coach and
Breed
leg screws
expired.
available in cone and gimlet point.
Watching. Hot. Press. Johnson. Jill. Hop.
Self-tapping screws are available according to body form and head type. ASA classifications are
Bet. Drummer.
Breed expired.
Type AB, used in pierced or punched holes where a sharp point for starting is needed. Type B, a blunt point type, space head through. Type BP, used for locating and aligning holes. Type C, another blunt point type. Type U, hammered and mechanically forced into work. Type D, for rethreading clogged pre-tapped holes. Type F, another blunt point type. Type G, for low-strength materials. Type J, same as Type D. Type BF is used to reduce stripping. Parenthetically, screw thread inserts are useful in many cases to provide increased thread strength and life. Holes in which threads have been stripped or
if by mellow pushing
otherwise damaged can be restored through the use of threaded
overtook
inserts.
poetic witness. If by
Holes for
clear,
threaded inserts
breed,
drilled
expired.
size and are especially trapped to receive the insert.
we
Selected to
Stop.
make
Meaning
with
what?
thread bed.
Changing program.
To what end?
To not process wife.
Meaning what?
Changing a program.
To what end?
To stop the screwing.
Meaning what?
Arguments of functions.
Restrictions.
Fixed or flowing point modes.
Arrays.
Dimensions.
The index of a do loop may be any fixed point variable.
Nested do loops.
Input.
Output.
Format.
Trial runs.
Subroutines.
Common statements.
End statement.
Flowcharts.
Parameters.
Map language.
To what end?
To.
if our
Inscrew is a
Go to
go-to
unconditional
unconditional statement.
statement, if our
Inscrew is a
Go to
go-to
assigned
assigned
statement.
statement.
if our
Inscrew
was a
is an
read
assigned statement.
if our
Inscrew
was a pun
is a go-to
statement,
computer statement.
if our
Inscrew
was a print
is an
statement,
if statement. Inscrew is a do statement. Inscrew is a continue statement. Inscrew is a stop statement. Inscrew is a pause statement. Inscrew,
Is an if switch statement.
meaning what?
Using.
To what end?
To properly.
In 1929, there were 254 establishments devoted to the manufacture of screws and screw products. The number of employees, average for the year, was 18,749, and the wages paid were $26,802,000. The value of products of screw makers was around $82 million. Admittedly, more recent figures would undoubtedly be higher. As a measure of how sophisticated the screw business has become, I should like to relate the following personal story. My brother-in-law has an unusual occupation. He works for the United States government. He is an expert on screws. He travels 120 miles each day to do his work. Basically, he's in charge of which of the thousands of varieties of the screw, particularly as used by the military, will become obsolete as a result of a new screw on the market. He's a dedicated man. Sometimes I kid him about being a neo-madam, because in fact, he acts as a go-between for the screw maker and the screw user. His end of the screw business is very complicated indeed. What happens is the following. A new screw is announced. He sorts through the screw manuals of screws already in use, and from these he determines which screw is to be replaced by the new screw. Then he checks his files to determine which government agency is now using this screw to be replaced. To this particular screw user, he sends official details concerning the screw determined to be obsolete and specifications regarding the replacement screw. He requests of the screw user a detailed inventory of their obsolete screw stock in hand. Upon receiving this information, my brother-in-law checks his list of obsolete screw warehouses against their current stockpile of obsolete screws to determine which can best accommodate the new obsolete screw. Having done this, he alerts the particular obsolete screw warehouse. The obsolete screw warehouse acknowledges. He alerts the screw user. The screw user acknowledges. To what end? Next, he determines, along with the obsolete screw warehouse, the date or dates on which the obsolete screw may be received and conveys this information to the screw user. The screw user acknowledges, ships his obsolete screw stock on the determined date after having alerted the obsolete screw warehouse, while simultaneously sending a copy of the obsolete screw stock shipment to my brother-in-law.
Only then!
The obsolete screw warehouse confirms receipt of the obsolete screw shipment to the screw user and sends a confirmed copy to my brother-in-law, who, in turn, confirms receipt of this information to both the obsolete screw warehouse and the screw user. This having been accomplished, my brother-in-law alerts the screw maker to prepare the new screw shipment to be shipped to the screw user, alerts the screw user to prepare to receive the new screw shipment from the screw maker. They both acknowledge that they are prepared. The screw maker additionally sends my brother-in-law the precise date of shipment of the new screw stock. My brother-in-law acknowledges this and forwards this information to the screw user. The screw user acknowledges. Then my brother-in-law alerts the new screw maker that it's okay to ship the new screw stock to the screw user. The screw maker ships. The screw user receives. Normally, a given transaction ends at this point. However, it is clear that the operation can become far more complicated when there's more than one obsolete screw user, more than one new screw maker, or more than one obsolete screw, which can be replaced by one efficient new screw. Occasionally this happens. With industrial acceleration being what it is, it's even possible that a new screw on the market, intended to replace a screw or screws, which are thereby rendered obsolete, may itself become obsolete before it has been used because of an even newer screw variety. My brother-in-law is a dedicated man. In Heron's pneumatics, certain implements outside the 5 powers, 6 powers according to modern thought, are described. Especially interesting are his devices which produce circular movements as a result of hot air or steam streams. For example, there is an altar where a fire is lit and the hot air from this hollow altar, streaming through 4 bent pipes, makes puppets dance. Authorities contend on the strength of such playthings that the ancient Greeks could have invented the steam engine if only they did not have slaves, which made such an invention superfluous. Clearly, this is not true, for, among other things, the engine had to wait for the screw as we know it to be refined.
Meaning what? 2 attributes.
To what end?
To examine, meaning what?
Too deep. To what end?
To the base, meaning what? To
Out.
If we
To what end?
Too dipped out.
rather deep, rather dipped, deep, deep, rather dipped, dipped, deep, rather deep, dipped, rather